Welcome back, BSrs, to another exciting edition of Belonging Songs, your weekly podcast that brings you a brand new original song each week, then talks about the theme of that song and the processes that went into writing and recording it, sometimes the revisions we make along the way. I'm your host, Wade Dana. With me, as always, my good friends Patrick Crane.
Welcome back, everybody.
And Brad Maurer.
How you doing there?
Doing good. You guys want to key the BSers in on what we were just talking about at all? Or should we just...
About the Bristol stool chart? We'll put that up on Instagram.
All right, let's move along. New week, new episode. We're diving into the to the archives here, right? For Brad, one of Brad's songs.
Yep, we are digging deep, like Oak Island deep.
Yeah, there's gold.
There's a stick.
They find a lot of nails on that show. That
which, by the way,
we can't go down the Oak Island hole right now.
They can find nails in a 500-foot pit. I try to find a panhead nail in my garage.
Nowhere.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Right. Nails and grails.
This song's called Eating Crow by Brad. Brad, this one's been around for a while. You want to tell the listeners a little bit or Patrick's never heard this either, so why don't you tell him about it too?
No, it's I think it's 5 or 6 years old, maybe.
Mm-hmm. It's just a little guy.
Yeah, just a little guy. But one that it's like it's done, but it's not my favorite thing that I've done. It's what I'll listen to. It's an aw shucks moment for me. Yeah. It's whatever. Yeah. Guys. Like,
he's dead serious though, listeners. Yes, it's like this is a running joke. We make fun of him because he's always like, give it no respect. But every time he's dead serious. Like, doesn't even realize he's doing it.
You're actually correct in that. I wrote this song about like an event. It was an occasion where somebody that I know really well had essentially a meltdown, and it was a song about me. No, it was awkward. It was weird. It was public. There was a lot of people around.
Oh, this song is about Patrick,
and it's about it's about the days that follow, right? So like you had a meltdown. You embarrassed yourself.
You gotta own it.
What are we gonna do now? Yeah. And it was basically just about changing your view of somebody a little bit based on one incident, and you're just like
one authentic moment.
One authentic moment that forever causes your next interaction and everyone after that to be like, hey there, guy.
Absolutely. You could never, after those moments, right? Everybody kind of, I would assume, has that one person that does that thing where ever since you're just like, oh boy.
The
like,
defining moment.
Yeah. And so like, it kind of puts you on eggshells, right? Like you're just like, I don't want that to be about me ever. So I'll just, what do you want to do? Like I'll back up a little bit. And so it was pretty much about that. It's sort of a blend a little bit lyrically about how if I did that, how would I feel and what would I do? Because I don't think I've had any of those incidents. I might have had one or two where you get a little irritated, but I don't think there's been any.
We've seen your antics on the pitch.
Sporting events are different. But I think, that's essentially the theme of it. And I don't think it's mysterious enough to keep from anybody before they hear the song. I think it's pretty on the...
It is called Eating Crow.
On the surface, yeah. A couple of things I don't like about it, I'll tell you after we listen to it.
You said something interesting the other night while we were doing a meeting. I had dug into the hard drive of old songs. You and I had made a list a while ago, and our recording schedule has gotten a little thin because it's summertime and everybody gets way more busy in the summer. So it's harder to constantly be pumping out new music. So we've looked for some older stuff to bring and turn into episodes and finish. And Brad, you had said there was a little group of songs that I found of yours, and this was included, but you're like, oh yeah, all those songs I kind of wrote at the same time, which I think is kind of cool that we're going to have a group of episodes here coming up that is all like this time capsule of your work from about 5-6 years ago. I was thinking it might be cool once they're all finished to turn them into like an EP.
Uncle Dave and Chuckers took an entire bottle of time capsules once.
No, I think you're right, Wade. I think the listeners will recognize, I wouldn't say maybe a tonal difference, but like a little bit of a different sound.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, I was probably listening to things that were completely different. I guarantee you it was wintertime, because I remember when I did this, it was like early winter of, I think, 2015. A lot of snow and shit that year. There was a lot going on. And I just remember being kind of locked in that room because there was really nothing else to do. And I had a period of like 3 or 4 days where I did pump out a bunch of songs or starts of songs that I was continuing to work on. It became this, 6 or 8 song collection that are all, they kind of sound alike. And that's what we were talking about the other day. Is it's artists professionally, when you were to get signed for somebody, it's almost a shame, because like you get locked into a sound based on whatever your initial signing sound was. So like the poor singer from the National has to sing in that low tone for the rest of his goddamn life. And I'm like, well, that's, if something's easy to mimic and make fun of, then it's probably not right. And I could see somebody like, and I like a lot of their songs, but I think like somebody
on
could,
a blood.
Yeah,
booze.
right. So like you could very easily have a parody band on, some sketch comedy show and instantly know what it is. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. And I think that it's important to not sound the same. And I think what you listen to constantly evolves. And I think how you think about music constantly evolves. And so it's fun to go back and listen to like a little block and a little era of when I was in this zone. And it's a completely different zone where I am now. And whatever influences were impacting me then created these songs, and they're a done deal. And I just kind of want to get them out there.
Cool. Well, let's give this one a listen. This is a demo version of Eating Crow. This song, just so everybody knows, this is going to change throughout the course of this episode. I know what we're going to talk about after we listen to it, and we'll get into that after we listen to it. So let's give it a listen.
Should I even be here? You got it all figured out.
Yeah, we can figure it out later. I'll edit you out. I should unmute it.
Yeah, so whatever notes you give, Patrick, make sure they work with what Wade already did.
There will be a quote-unquote compromise.
Right. Let's give it a listen.
All right.
Follow me to the buffet, filled with old bones and heartache. It's not the kind of thing I always do, but when I'm wrong, and so are you. You know they came a long, long way just to see your mistake, and it looked like a real love stew, which I never thought would suit you. Everything I thought I knew went out the window. Eating crow, you gotta let a little ego go when you're at the table. Eating crow. never takes much to do. Put the fire out on your ears. Things would be crystal clear. It doesn't make them better than you. Never in a million years. Everything I thought I knew went out the window. Eating crow, you gotta let a little ego go when you're at the table. Eating crow, your mother always seems to know when I should be.
Brad, you back?
Yep.
All right. So there it is. Patrick, you've never heard this song, so why don't you give us some of your thoughts after hearing it for the first time?
Honestly, I think it needs some work.
Mm-hmm. I would concur.
This is not my favorite Brad Maurer song, but I think it could become one of them. The thing that I'm struggling with on this song, Brad, is I feel like the verses in the chorus, I'm talking about guitar, not lyrics or vocals, they're not feeling like a cohesive song to me for some reason. I don't know why. I'm going to have to listen to this a few more times. I really want to give you constructive criticism, but I'm trying to think my way through it right now. There's no part of the song I don't like. I'm just really struggling with what doesn't connect with me right off the bat. Because usually when I hear your demos, I can hear where the song's going once it's mixed, once there's a few parts. This one, I just don't get that yet. I like the choruses better than the verses as far as looking at the total picture of the song. Yeah, there's something about the guitars and the phrasing of the guitars that is just...
Is it that like verse pattern?
It might be.
Because there's... Hi. Well, apparently the whole world's coming in here now. Including a dog. Agnes.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, this is being live streamed to Twitch. Say hi.
I forgot that you were in here.
Right.
We were scoping out to see if she needs to sleep some more.
Oh, they were checking
Thanks
out
for
her
saving me
room.
from telling my buddy I don't think his song's working yet.
We get back there.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
All right. Everybody out of here, including the dog.
Okay.
Dog can stay. You guys got to go.
Brad, can you tell the BSers the name of your pup there?
That is my dog, Lola.
Okay. There's another dog that lives in your home, right?
She left. We have Bella and Lola.
Okay. Which one's the
That's
super crazy one?
That's Lola.
Both of them.
Yeah,
Well,
that dog has a
they're both-
death wish.
They're both crazy.
Oh,
But-
the death wish
one-
by the one that likes to try and bite
It's a-
car tires?
That's Bella.
Oh, okay.
Bella, Lola, and Lola. That's both of them. Anyway, train of thought. Gone.
So, yeah,
Where-
both parts are good. I just don't think they work together. I'm an idiot because I have no way of articulating what I want to tell you that I want changed.
You're pulling a me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to
Like
stop.
you heard a song. I think that's part of my initial, my disclaimer that I threw out, right? Especially with this song, though, is I'm just like, I don't know, like it's a thing I did and I like it, but I don't know what I like about it. And I don't know the part that I don't like about it, I don't know how to repair.
What's reassuring is there's parts where you get me back, particularly around the solo, the chorus and the verse.
I can tell you, just a spoiler alert, what information I was downloading at the time as far as music. What do you hear in that song that maybe could have been an influence? Does anything come to mind or no?
You mean besides Rob Thomas?
Right, and Santana.
Not for me, honestly, no.
No.
Yeah. I was just curious because I don't.
What were you listening
Are
to?
you going to tell us?
But no, that's it. Let's wrap it up. No, oddly enough, it was a lot of the band The Kills, and it was a lot of like the intro part was definitely me trying to emulate something that I heard in the Kills.
I get a little bit of that. I wouldn't have.
That I like.
I'm not familiar.
You wouldn't have put it together, and I
No.
don't think that's not the point. And the other artist I was listening to a lot was a lot of Iggy Pop, and so it was a lot of like the lyrics over something that's completely different.
Yeah.
I think is where that comes from a little bit, and maybe.
Did you try
Maybe
rubbing
just those-
glass on your chest?
No,
Yeah.
no, but I didn't have a shirt on for most of it.
It was the winter, though.
I know. I had a shirt on.
Okay.
You caught me in a lie.
So anyway, I'm not very erudite as far as describing what I want to hear change. So I want to hear from Wade.
I think maybe I can help you out here. This song was originally recorded to just a click track. It was a little more than a click track, but it was like just a beat, probably out of your DR5 or something.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then this version that we just heard is actually Brad playing the drums here in the studio downstairs before it was even finished. It was just a wood floor and some drywall was thrown up. And I think the drums being so super samey throughout the entire song don't lend any separation to the parts. And that might add to what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's an
Patrick,
interesting perspective.
that
That
there's
might be
no
right.
differentiation in the beats or the parts, and so it kind of all just goes the same throughout the
I
whole
think
thing.
that's a huge element for that argument.
In full disclosure to the BSers, I've been working on this song for the past couple days, getting it ready to finish, and we actually have a version where our friend Chad plays the drums to this. Brad hasn't heard that in a long time. I'm going to send that to him, and he's going to decide if he wants to keep those or if he wants to map new drums to it. But I can tell you just from working on the version where our friend Chad did the drums, he does lend to that separation of parts by
A little more phrasing.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a drummer.
Yeah.
You know, and I think where I was when I was like, hey, wait, I'm just going to come over and I'm just going to play some drum beats to my songs because I was tired of hearing the machine.
Right.
You know, I was tired of hearing that same machine over and over. I was like, I can hold a beat as good as this fucking machine. You know, it's not. I couldn't put bells and whistles on it, but I was like, at least there's going to be a human element to it. And I was hoping that would get it to where it needed to be. And then eventually, I don't remember. Chad must have been out of town. Like he must have lived in Arizona still.
I think so. So we tried to do it ourselves.
Period. Yeah, so we were like, well, we don't really have somebody to play the drums. Let's just finish these quote unquote songs. And when he came back, we still had them all and he wanted to play music. We're like, well, we got all these. Why don't you record to these? So we did those one day, and it's a lot better having a drummer play. That's his instrument. It's not my instrument.
And I can tell you just by that addition, the song becomes much more dynamic.
Yeah, agree.
And maybe that is what's missing. Maybe that's what my ear's not picking up. So
right. You're just getting a hi-hat and snare out of me, man. You know?
The song also has a really long, what I call a Brad intro.
Yeah, which I'm not in love with, by
a
the way.
A
Right.
A Bradtro?
Yeah.
Brad.
Bradtro. That's the name I use when I'm shooting tennis balls out of a cannon at
Rancho.
at challengers. as they're
I
called.
gotta get the Nerf arrow shot at your target. Where's Zonka?
Zonka, yeah.
Brad,
Larry.
I have pictures of you playing drums down here for this session.
Oh,
so
we'll put those up.
Yep, I'll definitely dig those up and put them on Instagram.
And we'll title them "Shitty Version."
Yeah. Some notes I have, like there's that long intro, and then there's an instrumental, just a break after the first chorus and the second verse where nothing happens.
Yeah.
And in the version I'm working on right now, to try and get this closer to finished, or at least to get a rough mix for you to hear of the other drums, I brought in the drum machine in those parts, like the original click drum, just to give you an extra element.
A change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like standard rules apply. If you hear something, go ahead and just do it, because, this is definitely one of those songs where I've heard it so much, I don't know what to do to it. Make it different.
What I really like about this are the high vocals that you do in the second verse. Like those are really great. Those add a lot.
In fact, I there's like a slide guitar, I think, in there.
Yep.
And I
You're
was
a sucker for slide.
yeah. Well, I am a sucker for slide,
know
but
that.
I'm saying get rid of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would rather have you do that.
He's gone.
I'd rather hear more vocals come in there. The classic Brad harmonies, self harmonies.
What's funny is there were more slide guitar in this song. And another thing that's interesting is what we just listened to is one of my old mixes.
It's not a terrible mix, actually. I've heard worse from you.
The whole thing was originally just slide guitar.
Yeah.
We started slowly pulling it out, and now you want it all gone.
We've both pissed off Brad today.
Yeah.
No, I don't. This is a song that needs a little more construction.
It does,
and
I don't think it's bad. I just think
It needs some work.
It needs a lot of work.
I think it'll be fun to get it there.
do you ever think it'll be a song that captures you, Patrick?
Probably.
Like, you've
yet to play me something on this show that didn't.
This song does have parts that have got me in the past. Like I've got the chill up the back. Like, oh yeah, that's cool. And I think a little more finesse and work will get it there.
Yeah, I really like the chorus in this song. How you sing it.
The part I liked, I think, the most was
the slide guitar.
That. I like the way you can sing the line, "You gotta let a little ego go."
Uh-huh.
I just liked the way that came together, and it wasn't intended. It's like, it's like go.
You know what I think we should do right now is listen to the version with the other drums.
Yeah, can we do that?
Brad's got to listen to it anyway to make a decision on if he wants to keep them.
I would love to do that.
Okay, let's do it. So, Brad, we're going to have to pause here. I'm going to have to go into that session, bounce it down real quick, and then I'll put it up. So we're going to go dark for about 5 minutes. Do we need the time machine for this? Can we just use real time?
We don't have it back yet.
Oh, okay. So, BSers, we're going to be back in just a minute.
Dave is getting a decal put on the back window that says send nudes.
All right, Brad, I'm going to shut this down for a minute.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. That was a long trip in the time machine.
Well, we had to put it in manual.
Yeah, we had to get her to the top of a hill and roll down. So, no, we just took about 5 minutes, got this version of the song, bounced down, sent to Brad.
Completely rewrote it.
Yeah, everything in this is the same except for the drums, and I was doing a rough mix on it yesterday. And because of the way the drums were recorded, like I mentioned, the song first had just like a click track drum thing. Then Brad recorded drums to that. And then Chad came in and recorded drums, maybe even to Brad's drums. So it's like a telephone game kind of going on. So I did something to the drums in this version that I don't normally like to do to Brad's songs, which is I chopped them all up and put them back onto the original grid, because that's what the rest of the song was originally recorded to, and everything had just gotten a little crazy, which is, I think, part of the reason, Brad, originally you weren't super thrilled with this version, and that's kind of why it never got finished, because we couldn't nail down the drums, and I think that was part of the problem. There was just a little off because of the way it all progressed.
Well, yeah, and I think they were just there.
And we probably did the thing that we always do to poor Chad, was like, hey, we got this song. Could you just play to it right now without having heard it ever? Like,
we love to do that. But then at the same time, he's also like, he'll listen to it once, but yeah, I got it.
yeah.
And you're like, do you though? I don't know, man.
So I did do that. I chopped that and the bass up just to lock those together and groove more. And you'll hear I bring in your click track a couple times and just did a rough mix, but then that kind of got screwed up because I was working on the drums. But for the purpose of what we're doing right now, maybe it'll give a better sense of separation to some of those parts.
For the record, I think I actually am positive that group of songs that we were talking about earlier, like that we might turn into something. I was like kind of tired of the drum machine dictating where the songs, because a lot of times I would start with the drum machine. And so I was kind of getting tired of that dictating how the songs were going to sound.
Right. And this is all pre-addictive drummer before we found all that. And
pre-addictive drums. So all I recorded all of that batch to a click track with 0 drums.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of why, again, like maybe there's not a connection with certain accents and things that might have been a little tighter had the drums been there, and then the guitar would hit certain notes as it was being played. It was completely reversed and a little bit tougher for me to do that way. But like I said, I was tired of kind of having something dictate a sound, and I wanted to create something different.
Right. So. Okay, well, let's give this a listen and then see what we can figure out moving forward for this song.
Right on. Here we go.
All night.
So that mix is very drum and bass heavy because that's what I was focusing on, and that's just where it was. I didn't plan on playing that today on the show, but you get the gist of what a different drum performance brings to the song. Patrick, what do you think?
Nah.
No,
No, just kidding. No, it makes those transitions a lot better. It definitely, just that little bit helps tie the song together. So I am going to end up liking this song. God damn it, Brad.
I always knew I was a better drummer than Chad.
Now we have proof, right?
In my heart of hearts, yeah, like I knew, like, he does too much.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's a night and day performance issue for sure. Humanizes the song a lot more versus just steady. The way that was rough mix, it takes focus away from the main part of the song.
Yeah.
But it's not a done mix, so there's nothing to comment on there. I think that's the one to move on. Only thing I'm not crazy on is we'll have to figure out a way to end it.
Yeah, that is just... I've already got thoughts
rough.
about
It's rough.
taking stuff out.
Yeah. Only thing I noticed that was odd.
It needed fills. I mean, really, that's what it needed.
And
So
I
good ear.
think the intro just should be cut. Remember, we found that little clip of you going, "All right," and I dug that out from a different session and put that in there. I think it goes, "All right," and then the song starts. Sans that intro, like just go right into the song.
I agree with that. I think maybe I would debate a global edit on the time it comes back again. I don't know that it needs that part.
That break.
The intros, and the intro's clearly just too long.
Brad, we've jammed on this song before live, and it gets that that gets old quick to play.
Yeah.
Might get a little boring to listen to too in those parts. I think that could benefit the song to get rid of some of that, especially in that long intro.
The long intro is always what's bugged me about that song. Is like I like what it's doing. I don't like what it does for the song.
Yeah.
Have you thought about more outro?
I mean, he's got 2 solos in the outro. They're labeled solo 1 and solo 2 on the session, but they're really just one long solo.
Yeah. Have you thought about putting the outro in the intro?
If we thought about just making it a solo.
Brad, do you think that you want to move forward with that drum performance?
I think so. Okay. Yeah. I think it's better than what I would create blindly. It's a lot more animated. If I was to take it to Addictive Drums or something, I would take it back to Simple Town.
Yeah.
I don't think it wants to be there. I think it wants to be alive. And Chad did a lot of good stuff.
I can't remember where we recorded those drums. I'm assuming we did it here in the studio, probably before it was finished as well.
It was. I have pictures of it when we did it. It was on a Saturday.
And it wasn't recorded particularly well, the kick and snare especially, so I ended up replacing them with samples, and you still get the original performance in the overheads, and they come through pretty loud, so you get the original feel, but then I also supplemented the kick and snare with samples to make it sound way better.
Yeah, remember we struggled with the kick drum mic that day.
Yeah, I think it was broken, actually. I had to take it apart and fix it
right
after that.
Yeah, so I think we put in a mic for the bass drum that wasn't intended for that purpose, and that's what you're working with, which is hard.
Yeah. What do you think we should do? Do some global edits, give this a better mix, and then listen to it again and see how we're doing?
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be, I guess, mad. It would be the easiest word if you just took some liberties with it and made it more, I don't know if appealing is the right word, but just made it more complete.
Oh, you want me to make it sound better?
Yeah, whatever. Okay. What I'm getting at is that if that means just like removing shit or completely or changing shit completely, or you want to play a guitar, I don't really care. Whatever gets that song to where it wants to be, I'm down with it.
Do you listen to that and hear anything where you're like, oh, I need to do this or that to her? You're just kind of
No, I would have done it. Okay. Like, that's the issue, is I think, like, it's been around so long, it's just the goose is cooked. I can't figure it out. So if fresh ears and fresh eyes, that's what I'm getting at. So if you see something or hear something,
cool,
take the liberty and do it, because I will not get mad.
Awesome. So, okay, I will I'll chop the shit out of this thing.
Do whatever you want. Make it as good a song as it could be, knowing that I have zero respect for it. I didn't take a long time to put it together.
I think there's a good song in there, and I think we can pull it out.
Yeah, I think so too.
I agree. I just don't think I can do it. So I need help.
Yeah, it's gonna be a collaborative effort, but yeah, the bones are good.
Okay, cool. Let's jump in the time machine, and when we come back, I will have done something to this. Set course. To the future! When do you guys want to welcome us back to this episode? I always do it.
You're the host.
I know, but okay.
That's me saying no, I don't want
Okay. All right.
Welcome
and we're
back to Belonging Songs.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. Thanks for welcoming us back from that break from the past in our trip to the sea. This is why maybe I shouldn't have done it, because I'm really messing it up.
Our trip to the sea.
Yeah, Brad
was recently at the sea.
Right.
And Brad, we were just talking about eating crow. So you just took a long trip for work where you had to drive 10 hours 2 ways, and you got the opportunity to listen to an edit that I did of the song.
I did.
And we're going to listen to it here on the show. But first,
yep.
Sorry for cutting
the
you
more
off.
That's okay. The more I listened to it, the more the edit grew on me. I think I have a reputation now that is pretty solid, and it takes me a while to warm up to changes for something that I did.
Yeah, so I sent this to you, and your initial listen, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you expect? It's completely different, but it's everything we talked about doing.
Mm-hmm.
After a couple of listens, I think it's a lot closer to where the song wants to be.
Most of the things we talked about doing were based on Patrick's feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I'm to blame.
So, Patrick, what did you think of the new edit?
Well, it's great. I've listened to it 6, 7, 12 times. Just listen to it right now.
BSrs, Patrick's going to be listening to it for the first time here on the show. So we'll get his initial thoughts on the edit.
I've been put on probation.
A little bit.
I'm sorry, Brad, were you saying something there before I so rudely interrupted?
I was, but I don't remember what it was.
Let's shut this down.
I don't know that editing the song alone can completely
get this
it where
is
it
not
wants to be.
mixed.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know that there might be some more work to do.
Gotcha.
As far as performing on it, just to complete it, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, Patrick, as you listen to it, you're going to notice the edit. And, if we want to take a minute to listen to the first version, if you don't remember it, we could probably do that.
Oh, I remember it well.
But just so you can compare the two and then let me know. yeah, I'm sure you do. Let me know if you think there's performance things that could be added or.
I had sent you a comment about the
made.
end, so we could talk about that after.
Okay.
I'm actually really excited to do that because like I said in the first part of this episode, I think the song has a lot of potential. It just didn't hit with me right away. So after hearing this edit, I think I'll be a little more, I guess, comfortable in my own thoughts about where the song should go.
Yeah,
cool.
I think you will be too.
Need to be done.
Well, let's stop talking about it. Let's listen to this thing.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
All night. Follow me to the buffet, filled with old bones and heartache. It's not the kind of thing I always do. When I'm wrong, and so are you. You know they came a long, long way just to see your mistake. And it looked like a real love story, which I never thought would suit you.
I'm curious to hear what Patrick has to say.
Same.
I didn't listen to it.
Oh, you didn't?
Um,
You were listening to the latest Kesha track, weren't you?
I was. Oh my God. Why do I do this? Hold on. Let me put my glasses on so I look more serious.
I could jump in and just say what I did edit-wise before you get going. I clearly took out the big, long intro, took out the break in the middle of the song. Those were the two main edits, right? Right? Is there more?
Yeah. No, those were absolutely required, though.
Yeah, it's amazing how those little two arrangement differences change the song. The solo, the fact that there's basically just one solo now instead of an entire another song of solos, it just makes more sense. I love how the solo starts. It just kind of kicks in, it transitions well.
Yeah.
I just have a couple really performance notes, Brad, and this song has gone from something like I had a hard time telling you that I really didn't like to a song that I now hear where it's at and I really like it. I think performance-wise, I'd like to see a little bit more. I don't know if I want vocals or some kind of instrumentation when you start the pre-chorus, everything I thought I knew. I think it needs something that comes in with your voice a little bit, just in the background, to sort of add another layer. I just hear something there, and I'm not sure what I hear yet. And it may be just a little backing vocal. It may be just a little guitar, single note, two notes that maybe bends up or down an octave. I don't know. I'm going to have to listen to it again to really think what I want there. But I think that needs just something to help it along. At 2:16, I also would love, this is something that I've tried to get you to do before, and I know your voice isn't where it is usually right now because of allergies, but I'd like you to push your voice a little more at 2:16 to give some kind of change in timbre and emotion. Just bring it up a notch, almost to the point of where your voice is straining. I think that would add a little bit of change because that riff, it's effective, but it gets repetitive. So you need something in the vocal to just add a little bit of flavor to the song, I think. And that would be a good transition to a new act in the song, I feel like. I think the solo is great now. I wrote, solo comes in perfectly, makes more sense. The intro is perfect now, makes a lot more sense for the story of the song. And then really the only other note I have is instead of fading out, it might be cool just to end the song on ba-na-na-na-na, done. Just end it more abruptly. That's it. This song has really dramatically changed, in my opinion of it, has dramatically changed because of the arrangement. I think it makes a lot more sense now. I think the first version sounded like a demo. It sounded like something that wasn't completely thought through, worked out, and now it sounds much more cohesive, and it sounds, I hate to try to get inside the artist's head, but knowing you, I feel like this is a lot more what you were trying to say. And before, you didn't quite know how to tell that story, so you added a bunch of parts, and those parts alone sound good. I mean, you're an amazing guitarist, you're an amazing vocalist, so they sound good in isolation, but when you try to tell a story with those components, it just gets dragged out a little bit. It feels condensed. It feels like you took something, just made it more solid.
I completely agree with all of that, Patrick, by the way. So don't just assume you're insulting in any way, because the reason the song kind of sat in the undone folder for a while is just because I was trying to squeeze, I think, influences into it and try to make it sound like things. The reason I wrote the song was because I heard certain things and I was trying to hold on to those initial sparks. They really dragged the song down, which Wade proofs in this edit. Like when you take those out, you get a lot lot just through. Are we getting zoomed?
You guys,
Yeah.
You guys have a delay on each other?
I'm
I
good
don't know
now.
what's going on.
The
Okay.
chicken caught up. It had to do a couple extra loops around the room.
All right.
Patrick, it seems like
Sorry.
you were going to jump in there with something.
I was just going to say, it's no secret that I'm a fan of both of your songwriting skills. And
But
I love
who are you more a
listening to your
fan
stuff.
of, Patrick?
Me. I think I write better than both of you. So
That's accurate.
I only listen to my own stuff. God damn it. The thought train is derailed. No.
What'd you do last time? Choo choo.
So it's always hard, and I talked about this in the last episode, and I've talked about this with Wade stuff before. It's always hard when I have to give brutally honest critique, and it's also hard because I don't want to co-write the song, but I want to be part of that journey. And so when I hear something that's different than you, hard to explain what you hear, especially when we're in isolation and we're not sitting at a mixing console together, have instruments where I could just be like, oh, did you try this?
Mhm.
So when it works this well, Wade's able to sort of translate my thoughts. And when I hear what I had in my mind, it comes out that close to it. It's pretty cool to say, oh, there's the potential. There's what it needed to be. I'm really happy with how this turned out, but I'm also biased because, like you said, this was based on a lot of my feedback. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Brad, and your thoughts, Wade.
Like I said, that's why I brought this song in here. It's been around for probably 4 or 5 years, maybe, and then 3-4 people might have heard it, and it's because I wanted to play it for people that were going to give me some ideas about it's not like I'm going to play it and be like, this is a representation of what my music sounds like. I didn't do that for people. It's more like, hey, let me know what you think of this because I'm stuck. And so that's basically what this show's about. And that's why I brought it here, because I really wanted to hear that input. On the performance side, like, I asked that question going into this because I heard the same thing. Like, it's a lot of the same. Even in the condensed version, like, I think you got it down to 3 minutes and 15 or 30 seconds. It's a shorter track, so it's not as boring, but it still is relatively the same thing. You have a part A, a part B, and a part C, and the A repeats itself and the B repeats itself and the C takes you out. And I really think that like your note about pushing the vocal at a specific time and adding more backing vocals and things in for second rounds of parts is kind of information I was looking for, because nothing was popping out at me. So now I'll be able to go in and try some stuff out. And that's kind of what I wanted to do in here.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And music is all about patterns, and so repetitiveness is great, but I think you always need to, always is probably a strong word. I usually think when you have a song that's very repetitive, so you treat that guitar riff like it's rhythm guitar, right? And then you need something else to help boost that sense of repetitiveness to keep the listener engaged. And I think that does that very well now. And I think it can be even a little bit better. But yeah, this is great. Wade, what are your thoughts after wrestling with this?
I have some thoughts on that repetitive aspect of the song, and I've sent Brad those thoughts in a text message. And I feel that by the end of the song, the main riff that is under the solo is getting to be too repetitive. I would like to see just a variation on that. And even if it was like, instead of da-na-na-na-na-na, if it was just like da-na-na-na-na, just something a little different under that last part, just to give it a little change there, I think would really help that aspect.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And I know that was hard to get across in a text message, Brad.
It took a couple of back and forths, but I understood it eventually.
Okay. What do you think about that idea?
I think it's a great idea. Like, all those are things I want to play with, because I hear the same thing. It's like almost like being a problem identifier. Like, I see the problems, I just don't have the solution,
Yeah.
And so I was looking for ideas.
That's something that is really noticeable to me when I'm listening to the song. Instead of listening to the solo, I sort of get stuck just thinking about how repetitive that riff is during that part.
You space out.
I think it's spent by that part, by the end of the song. So I think doing a little change on that would really help the song. And the only other note I have is I'm not super sold on the high background vocals during the eating crow part. I think you could just do better background vocals for that, because you're really good at that.
Also.
I
agree with that.
Yeah.
And this was, like I said, this song was a few years ago. And when I did of all people, when I did backing vocals a lot before, it was before I really started experimenting with them. It was just, I had my regular vocal and I would have a high backing vocal, and that's how I did them.
Right.
So a lot has changed since I recorded this, and I think I can do better. So I'm going to try that out.
Yeah, I think those couple changes would really bring the song to life. And then with a proper mix, I think it's going to be a completely different song than what we started with.
Yeah, I mean, I was originally hung up on the intro.
Mm-hmm.
Not a huge fan of
Coming right in.
with vocals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, boom, here you go. I'm singing now. I like trying to get people into a groove and then
Right.
explaining what the song's about. But I think it works for this song just
I
because
mean,
the song's a little irritated.
You could
You know, so like
play around with that variation in the beginning too, to where it's not the exact same riff. Because I know you do like to do that in songs. You don't like to come right in, but it's also not bad to have a couple that do that, I guess.
right, and that's what I'm trying to part of this whole process is opening up your idea.
Oh, and
Your
that
ideas a
sample
little
of
bit.
you going all night we found in I think when you were recording the drums originally, that was just in the background of one of the tracks. And when you and I were sitting here one night quite a while ago, I mean, before the pandemic and everything, we were listening to tracks that we could do on the podcast and just happened to like unmute that track or whatever. And that was there. We're like, oh, we got to keep that. That's great. And I think it's a really good start to the song.
Wade loves the stupid things that I yell when we're recording.
Yeah.
He didn't like when we threw in a guitar.
No, he didn't like that. That was too intentional. He likes the shit that I do when I'm being an idiot. Like this one was most likely me just going all night.
Yeah.
Probably pissed that it was taking me all night to record a little shitty beat.
And then I cut out that big intro, but there was that little chime, that little chime in the beginning, bing. And I had to go back into the old session and grab that too. I was like, I want that. I want that.
I like that too. The other thing I was going to say is, you know, we've been using programmed drums a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when you listen to this song, like just the feel of Chad playing a human being and changing the fills and just, you know, he's such a great drummer and you can hear it on this song, even though you had to kind of chop it up and move it around.
Yeah.
It is telling that, that is definitely what we would prefer.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
For sure.
And it's great, but you know, we've explained why we do that because, you know, we're trying to kick shit out and it's hard to record, but he did a great job on this song.
We can get technical a little bit right here.
We could do that.
When we recorded the Chad's drums, I recorded them very poorly. I don't know where we did it. Or you said we did it down here in my basement, but
we did it. It was pre-finished studio. Yeah. Remember, the floor wasn't done. I don't even know that you had the jacks and stuff in the wall, so we were running cables out of the board or something.
Yeah. So
and then
the kick drum and the snare ended up sounding terrible. So I actually replaced them with samples, but the originals are still in the overheads. So the overheads have the kick and snare, the original ones, and you can hear them. But then I just enhanced those because they were getting lost in the mix. And I have this new plugin by Massey that is a drum replacer plugin, and it's really great because it keeps all the velocity of the samples. So a lot of times when you do a drum replacement, you'll be like, oh, I want to trigger, say, all these kicks, and I'm going to use this sample. Well, it's like the exact same sample over and over. Boom, boom, boom. This program,
human element.
Yeah, this program keeps the velocity of the performance. So you're getting, you know, quieter, louder hits, just like the live drummer would. So I use that on both the kick and snare. And plus, with the original ones being in the overheads, it really is a nice blend of the two.
Yeah, but just like listening and how he and where he puts fills and things that, it's so much better having a guy that is a master of his instrument play with you on your songs rather than a guitar player trying to create a drum track for a song. It does result in much better music.
And once we get back to being able to play together here in the near future, we've got a lot of songs that we would like to do and record that way.
Right.
And that'll be really fun to bring them to the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Brad,
so that's great.
You feel like you're in pretty good shape to move forward on this then?
Yeah, I have what I needed, what I wanted when I brought it in.
Mm-hmm.
I have information to go back with, and I was really curious to hear what Patrick thought of version 2, just because if it was a total dud, we would just set this episode on fire, and that would be the end of it. But it sounds like there's potential.
Far from a dud.
So it sounds like we'll be doing another revisit before we do a mix. So we'll do
Yeah, I think so.
Brad's revisions. So I'll send this session to you, Brad. You can work on it,
Yep,
and then
that's perfect.
we'll revisit it then.
Awesome.
Cool. So that means it's time to jump into the time machine.
Dave.
Dave, I haven't seen Dave in weeks. I don't know where he's at. Him
I-
him and Chuckers, as soon as the sun came out, they got on a boat and sailed off somewhere. I don't know. Probably on
Problem
a
is, I think he
barge
took-
somewhere with a grill.
Did he take the keys with the time machine with him? No.
Oh, yeah, he
Because-
locked the garage up.
I'm tired of
The
wiring that
last
thing.
I saw, Chuckers actually had put a Weber grill in the back seat of the time machine to make hamburgers, and they caught the roof on fire.
Great. Yeah, we're going to start showing up in all sorts of episodes. We're not going to be able to keep it straight.
Right.
Timeline's going to be messed up.
Is he actually building a time boat? Are we gonna have to get in a time boat next time and just start and crank that thing up to?
His ultimate dream is to build like a time airwolf.
Yeah. Was Time Boat a direct to VHS Jean-Claude Van
I
Damme?
think it was. Yeah,
Sounds badass.
it was. But I went to the drive-in theater and I saw Sharknado 8 and Time Boat.
Now I want to see like a buddy cop movie with a time boat and a shark.
Right. That
Like
somebody do that.
They're a team.
Yes.
Okay, well, with that, yeah, let's
It's like Turner and Hooch Time Boat.
right.
With the shark ride and like a tank
Right.
shotgun?
Right. Bill and Ted's back, so now we have Turner and Hooch Time Boat.
Tom Hanks can be like the Stan Lee of the time boat franchise.
Right. Yeah.
He just shows up for a cameo in each iteration.
The time boat will pass him on a lonely island.
Okay, well, we'll be
We'll,
right
we'll
back.
just chuck him a new. We'll chuck him a new volleyball every episode on his new island.
Set course.
To the future!
Welcome back, BSers. We're in the future, talking about eating crow. Who cares?
As you do when you're in the future, looking back, eating crow.
We're gonna eat nachos soon,
In
crow
the future.
nachos.
so we
So-
need to get this episode done so we can go eat nachos.
We're eating nachos in the future of the future.
made of crow.
That's right. We'll let you know how future nachos taste.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, we left this song. We left you, Brad. We left you with some feedback, and it's been a while
It has.
since we've initially recorded this. This is going pretty well, and it's been a while since we did this at all.
It has been a while. It was necessary feedback, right? I think you guys had some very good things to say about the song to get it to this place. I can't remember. Are we just playing this for the second time? Is this the second time? Is this the big reveal?
I was thinking about this episode earlier, and I thought maybe I should go back and listen to that because
Why would you do
I
that?
don't really remember, but I think I do remember. We did the edit, so we cut
Okay, so we
some
listened to
stuff out of
once.
it. Yeah, we've listened
Twice.
to the edit. Yeah, we listened to the demo, the edit. Then we had some initial ideas for you, especially regarding the end of the song. And then you took it and put a couple extra tracks on
Yeah, I
it.
really didn't do much to it. I did try to do
Wait,
things to
you
it.
took it, let it sit there for
A while,
A
couple
while.
weeks.
Marinate.
There was a couple of random.
Had to develop some flavors.
Yeah, there was a couple of random texts from Wade's. It's like, hey man, did you do eating crow? And I was like, what the fuck do I even have to do to it? I thought it was over.
Yeah, wait.
And then
when
2
you
weeks
finally
from-
did go to work
Yeah.
on it, you did text back and you're like, it sounds done.
Yeah, that's exactly. We did this like 3 times. We were like, hey, did you do it? I was like,
You pulled the weight.
I don't
Thanks
remember
for the
what I'm
feedback.
doing. It's like I turned it
It's
on,
done.
and I'm like, I don't know what I was.
That's
supposed
why I
to
was
do.
texting you that.
Yes,
So
yes.
you would
And
have
so,
that feedback
so eventually,
fresh.
I did do it, and I did what turned out to be subtle things, which I think you hit the nail on the head when you were.
So I mixed this
Yeah.
song after you gave it back, and sent it back to you to do the final approval.
Yeah.
And your comment was, I can't really hear the new tracks I did, which I said you would hear them if I took them out.
Exactly. Because what it needed was what you guys suggested was you wanted a different, like something to differentiate the groove at the solo at the end of the song. And it was really hard. I did try to do things like I tried to do just some full on like like stuff, but the drums were accenting that riff so
already
hard
recorded, right?
that I was like, well, I can't really deviate too much.
Yeah.
So I did a couple of things to it, and it does thicken it up good. And I really like what you did when you did mix it because it kind of brought everything down, but it rounded it out.
Yeah, and like you had said, you can more feel it than actually hear it.
Yeah.
And I think what you did just adds a little grain and grit to the end of the song to make it just a little different from the rest. And so it doesn't get so monotonous.
Yeah, and when you listen to like those tracks like soloed they're filthy.
They are.
Patrick.
They're dirty
filthy.
when you gave them to
And
me.
I did it on purpose. Wade probably cleaned them up a little bit, but
I didn't. I really.
It was a semi-hollow, detuned.
I just
guitar,
turned them way down.
Yeah, just dirty. Yeah, he just took them
I
out of
didn't
the mix.
delete them. I just muted them.
Right. Yeah.
So it really is more of a feel.
I cleaned them up, big guy.
Yeah.
I cleaned them up and I threw them away.
down.
Swept them into the trash.
Yeah, so it's not something you'll listen to and be like, "Oh, there's a new part there." It's more of almost a pad in the background that helps the song out. So
Can we listen to the original mix one time before we listen to this cleaned up version?
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
the
think I need-
listeners
I
don't
think I
have
need
to, but
that.
we sure can.
The listeners have probably just heard it.
The listeners are fucking sick of this song.
So, yeah, let's do that. And
This is the bop of belonging songs.
I'll have to stop.
This is Patrick's lack of preparation
Yeah.
moment.
Let's just let everybody know that this podcast is run and performed by three dudes.
This
Wait,
podcast
Dana. Wait,
is
Dana.
over.
No, which means there are dude plans that go into that.
Hashtag dude plan. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so we've done our re-listen. Patrick, you took some notes, and during that, I was looking at Brad. Like, your notes are down there. You probably have your notes.
Same shit.
notes from before.
No, these were different notes.
Oh, okay.
These were for
These
pre
are-
and post listen.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to
All
critique the
right.
whole song again because we're not going to do it again.
Correct.
Not going to do it.
Not got that. Not got that.
We don't even remember what we said the first time, so.
No.
I don't even listen to this podcast. Much like our listener.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so we've got a new version to listen to, which we've already talked about, and I'm going to have to do some editing on this episode.
Didn't we just record a week ago and we forgot how to podcast again?
No, yeah, we did pretty good last week.
So it's funny, I mixed this song, and the next day I came down to work on something else, and I noticed that the mono button was pushed on my my monitor controller, and then I'm like, did I mix his song in mono? Like, so it'd be interesting if there's some serious pan jobs on here that take me by surprise. That will have been the case. But Brad gave me the okay on the mix, so he said it was good to go.
Better be good.
Well, I was just done with this song. This was so like 2016.
Brad, so those new parts, they come in like with the end solo, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pay attention for that.
Yeah. So just listen. Did you notice?
Just lick it.
Yeah. Just lick it. Lickety split. You'll notice now that the end before was pretty thin, right? So it thickens up pretty good.
All right, let's give this a listen.
All night. Follow me to the buffet, filled with old bones and heartache. It's not the kind of thing I always do. When I'm wrong, and so are you. You know they came a long, long way just to see your mistake. And it looked like a real love stew, which I never thought would suit you. Everything I thought I knew went out the window. things would be crystal clear. It doesn't make them better than you. Never in a million years. Everything I thought I knew went out the window.
See, I hear those new parts a lot in that end,
Me too
especially
now.
at the that very end there when it starts to fade out. You can hear them and pick them out, and they're panned wide, and they're there.
There's a really nice bass resonance that comes through at the end of the song now.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's the TK421 modification. You don't get that if you don't have that. So
It's the
high
It's
fidelity.
the highest fidelity
Yeah.
available in this model.
I noticed it more when we listened to the off-air old version.
okay,
And the end, it just sounded so thin. And so, like, coming back to it and then especially listening to it now, I don't know if it's necessarily what you had in mind when you talked about what it might need.
Oh, it's
but
not
it
at all.
definitely enhances the song.
it's not. But like you said, the drums were a set thing, so it
Yeah.
was really hard to change. You
Yeah.
can't really change the
Yeah.
groove once the drums are there. So I think this does the job of just giving that end a little more weight.
Yep.
So
Did you do any other mixing compared to the previously edited
yes, that's
Version-
that's a full
full
mix.
new mix?
Yeah.
Because there's right in the chorus, right before you say "eating crow," there's something in the left channel pan job that's really really nice. It's
it
like
a slide guitar?
like
Yeah, the
little
slide.
single
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah, see, you, I think, previously didn't care for a lot of the slide in this song.
Yeah.
And I did cut some of it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I
There
just
makes
left it
sense.
in that one spot,
Yeah,
which
I
I
like
think
that.
is,
It could have
is
been
a nice little
that could have been a
element.
less is more than
Mhm.
kind of routine.
Yeah, it's much more noticeable.
You
Yeah.
had slide throughout almost that entire end, which I took out because I just thought it was too busy. Yeah,
No, yeah, I mean, this song's definitely done.
it came a long way.
Yeah, it did. Similar to other songs previous to now, I can't listen to the first version. It's just there's too much
Makes
going
me
on.
sick.
Well, it's just like
Drawn out,
that
right?
little weird intro shit. Like, what was I doing, really? Like, what are you going for here, guy?
You were a younger man then.
Yeah, you're right. It was all necessary to get to this point.
Mhm.
And while it's not like my favorite song that I've done, none of them are. Let's be honest.
Did you even care about
Let's
this
be
one?
honest. I have a tiny bit of respect for it.
All right.
But it is complete. It's a done deal, and it's got a bow on it.
Yeah.
And I like where it ended up.
I think it's interesting that we started this episode before pushing on the bruise, and that just came out.
Yes, that's what I
So
was referring
BSers,
to.
you've heard that, but the process was very similar.
Yeah,
Like the songs kind of got some of their elements taken out to make the song more of a cohesive
and
and listenable piece.
And I think from that batch, so like that era, that there's going to be probably a couple of more that are going to suffer through that same process, just because I don't know if it was the headspace where I was at when I was writing in this time and I was trying to do certain things and wasn't quite executing them well or what it was, but it definitely needed some advice, that whole little era. And I think those songs will get there too.
Brad, I know we've probably mentioned it in this episode, but I've forgotten again. What was the early episode that was part of this batch? I think it was like episode 7.
Where do I fit in?
Yeah, that song also
Went through
if
the
you
same
remember,
process. A heavy edit.
I did a lot of heavy editing on that too. So
that's why I think this whole batch will. There's several other ones. Pistols and Chains, Pierce the Night. There's a couple other songs.
Eloise, which we've done.
Eloise is coming up.
Started recording on.
Yep. So there's some that are gonna go through some changes,
which is cool. I mean, that's what this process is for. So cool. Yeah, I like where this ended up. I think it's much more to the point than it was when we started.
This is another example of why we do the show.
Right.
Yeah.
It's finished bacon.
It's it.
Send it on its way.
So thank you both for helping me get through the process, because again, what you just said, Patrick, the song wouldn't be done. It wouldn't be here if we didn't have this show to do.
Yeah.
So it would still be sitting in the folder,
in the home squares file.
In the home in the home squares file until eventually that rotted or I ruined it, and then it was in space forever.
BSers, Brad did recently just go through some computer issues. So hopefully, I don't know. I haven't talked to you since.
Everything's alive.
Okay.
Everything's alive, but like there's nothing worse. Like this past Sunday was like a rainy Sunday, and those are my days, man. I can get up there and get some shit done.
Some recording.
And I go up there and it's just like fucking Apple pinwheels and like everything's frozen, and I couldn't do anything. So I was texting Wade, it's like, I'm updating everything. He's like, wait a minute. Oh no. Just stop.
Yeah, because we were trying to figure out when we were going to record the podcast, and Brad's like, I'm going to have to come to your house. I can't do it here.
Nobody's coming here.
Must have been Sunday, because I had the same issue. I had more beach balls on that computer.
Oh, I tell you, man, I was ready to throw it out. So then I was like,
it's like a brand new computer.
I know.
It's
so
not
where I
computer's
landed
fault.
was the thing. It's doing the Apple thing, right? It's like, hey, man, why don't you update this thing? You're going to want to update this thing. We're going to start moving a little slow.
You can turn that off.
So I'm like, fuck you, not the pinwheels.
You could turn the update thing off. So
I don't automate. I don't do it. Yeah, well, it doesn't. I don't worry about it asking me.
No.
I'm just like, this thing's probably wanting to update because that's what they do. It's the man getting you, I think. So I did that. So I updated the OS, which made me have to update my Pro Tools, which made me have to subscribe. And it was a whole Sunday. This shit.
Goddamn dominoes.
Yeah, right? So now I'm a monthly subscriber to Pro Tools. Thank you. Shout out, Advid.
It's all working good now?
No.
Oh.
I haven't fired it up yet.
Cool. Okay, well, good luck with that. BSers, I hope your computer's doing better than Brad's. If you like what you've heard here today, please leave us a rating and a review. You can go to Apple Podcasts. If you listen there, you can leave us a 5-star rating and review.
On Brad's computer.
Unless you're on Brad's computer or phone. Or he walked in to my house today. I had just finished setting up my surround sound stereo. It was working fine. Brad sits down, no middle channel in my stereo anymore.
I've never seen a beach ball on the Sony receiver until Brad walked in.
It's like a cooler for electronics.
I am.
If you listen in Overcast, please hit that little star in the top of the episode so we can be recommended to more people. Check us out on eBay because we're for sale. No, I forgot what to say.
Buy it now.
Pinterest.
Yeah. We are on Instagram, though. And,
Angie's List.
Right.
And this is a pretty standard outro for this podcast. You can listen to
Bart.
the before and after versions of all our songs on our website, belongingsongs.com. There you can go to the forums tab and fill it out to contact us or send us a message directly to bs@belongingsongs.com. This podcast is produced by Satellite Chicken Sound Lab. If you or anyone you know needs help making a podcast, go to satellitechicken.com. Oh, by the way, Satellite Chicken, that's me.
We promise we'll do a better job on your podcast than we do on our own.
It's not about the production; it's about the content.
Yeah.
So if you
If you have good content,
somebody gets this guy some content, shit's gonna go swimmingly well.
Yeah. And as always, thank you so much for listening. We will see you here again next week.
It's nacho time.
Boom, boom.
That's good. Boom, done. Next.